me tell you, language learning is so much more easier and accessible to you than before. Hey everybody, what's up? It's me, Destiny. So today I want to talk about learning language passively, or just getting excited about learning different languages. And the reason I wanted to do this is because I remember as a child, well, I'm still pretty young, but when I was like itty bitty, I was really fascinated with learning different languages. I wanted to do my best to learn them, but because I wasn't in an environment that I could actively practice speaking different languages, I decided to just do a lot of input. So whether that's reading or just listening to music or watching a show, I was still making sure I was exposing myself to different languages. These are some of my ways that I expose myself to different cultures, to different languages, and really broaden my worldview. So one of the ways I expose myself to new languages is on Spotify. They have a top 100 charts by countries. Just like go through the songs and see which beat I like the best, and I'll just listen to that song over and over again. I'll go, to YouTube and I'll try and type in like what are the lyrics and see what the lyrics are. The songs on the top 100 charts from each country typically represent what's happening in culture, whether it's from a movie, a meme, or a really popular artist. So another way I like to expose myself to different languages is being aware of the language that is spoken within your area. So where I'm from, there's a lot of Spanish speakers, and my family speaks Spanish and they taught me Spanish. So I speak with what I learned is heritage Spanish, meaning that I don't, in my everyday life, English is used, not Spanish, but within my home and within my family, Spanish is spoken. But because I'm not constantly in that environment, my immersion in speaking isn't the same as a native speaker or someone who grew up speaking Spanish all the time. But I became familiar with different dialects, realizing that the Spanish I speak comes from, the dialect where my grandparents grew up, and it also got me more accustomed to learning different slangs. So growing up, we referred to balloons, for instance, as bombas. But over time and through exposure, I realized that another word, a more appropriate word, if you will, for balloons is globos. So just talking with your family and getting that clarification, or being exposed to what's already in your environment, don't be shy. It's okay if you make mistakes. That's how you grow, and that's how you increase your vocabulary, and just learn that different things have different names. And just because you only know maybe one at that moment does not disqualify you from knowing the language. It's just, it represents where you're from. So for instance, even in English, I can say soda here, but if I go somewhere maybe across the country and they say pop, of course it's not familiar to me, but I'm still gonna know what they're saying. So don't be discouraged about the amount you know. Just be open to learning. Practice with your friends, or just ask them to teach you different words if you know they know a different language. For instance, my college roommate, she's Filipino, and she would teach me Tagalog. And then I learned that Tagalog has Spanish in it. So I would listen to her and I'd be like, okay, I know that word, but I don't know that word. And she would just teach me all these random phrases like umiyak ako, pagod na ako, kumusta ka po? And it's so much fun just to be exposed and learn the history of where language comes from. The way different languages can intersect with one another is really fascinating to me. So this was the first and one of the biggest ways I first learned languages. So when I was little, about maybe 7 or 8 years old, I stayed up one night too late, and lo and behold, there was a show called Inuyasha. And that was a whole nother rabbit hole I went to through anime. So anime has exposed me. I'm not saying it's the standard for what Japanese should be spoken like, but it will expose you to the different dialects, to the different slangs, and you have to have discernment, but that grows over time. Anime has been a fun way for me to learn different languages because I love putting on the subtitles. And back in the day, they had Romaji too, so I could follow along. God bless you, translators. Voice actors, their pronunciation is really good, you know, like they have to make sure the audience knows what they're saying. So constantly hearing, you know, through at least a decade's worth of watching anime Japanese, you know, I can't speak Japanese. Well, I know enough to get me around, but hearing it, because I became so accustomed to hearing it, it's easier for me to get the general gist of a conversation if someone's talking to me. If it's, you know, what I've been exposed to, like general conversation. So anime could just, that was my example, but could be any show. So to jump on top of that, Netflix, if you have Netflix, has this new extension on it, which I think is so cool, that I actually found from another YouTuber. Shout out to her. But I'm gonna actually read it for you because I have the site up. So it's improves your skills on your own by effectively and enjoyably watching films and series in the language you study. Build your listening comprehension with thousands of hours of authentic language and context. Subtitles are shown in 2 languages, allowing you to compare the original audio and text with translation in your language. They did not have this when I was growing up, y'all. So let me tell you, language learning is so much more easier and accessible to you than before. And oh, I'm gonna keep going. The pop-up dictionary and the extension suggest that most important words for you to learn. You can just go way more in depth than ever before. And I feel like it's really important to try and push yourself. If you really love learning different languages, it will benefit you so much. So much research has been done showing that knowing 2 different languages just helps with your brain cognition more, being able to understand more people, exposing yourself to more people, and being excited to know about their culture. Reading. Another way, as I kind of continued on my journey to learning language passively, is through reading. So once I got interested in anime, manga was not too far behind. I had a Tumblr during this time, and there was, oh, thank goodness, there were so many people who had like blogs that would translate at times. So there was this one girl who, she translated this manga in Japanese, she translated it to English and French. So with what I knew, I knew a little bit of French because, you know, Spanish helps with that. And I would just try and break down different words and see what related to what. And it helped me recognize the words so easy. So when I learned the kanji for blue, ao or aoi, depending, the word in it for French, and then I also learned the word in like English, and it just trickled down. And it really helps in small ways to expose yourself and to be able to recognize the words in different languages. And it is never too late. Just expose yourself to different languages. And now I'm on the journey of wanting to become I want to be a polyglot. I want to speak at least 5 different languages, and whatever more, I'm willing to listen to it all. So yeah, there's different ways to expose yourself to different languages, whether you want to just take it in and listen, if you want to learn to speak, if you want to learn to write, if you want to learn to read. There are so many modalities and ways you can do it now that are available to you. And I hope this video encourages you to seek out those different ways to learn different languages. Starting out, even if you know one language and you don't know anything at all, it's not too late to start practicing, to start exposing yourself, to listening to it. And I hope these ways excite you to learn a different language, whether it's through music, watching different shows, talking with people in your community, if it's reading a book or just having an online community that really draws you in. And that's what language has done for me. Learning different languages has exposed me to so many different cultures that I didn't know about, or it's so fascinating to me. Learning a different language can be lonely at times, but it is so rewarding, especially when you actually get out there and you meet other people who have been like learning the language, and they can teach you like the subtle things like intonations and the meaning behind different words and the context of those words. See what's out there, you know? Bye.